the International Association of Coaching. Home of the coaching masteries.
Okay, I think we can start this meeting. Okay, we have here Mario as interpreter for English. So I prefer you hear Mario about English translation. Okay, bienvenidos todos.
Okay, so welcome everyone. It's a very special day for me and for the whole global community of IAC because today we are launching the Global Triads program, the coaching Triads program for 2023. And this time, it is considering 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Chinese. For me, as a global benefits coordinator for members, this has been a very gratifying experience and with a lot of learning. And I also wanted to share that this session, we have designed it for it to be very effective. And in those 60 minutes, we can have the best of each one of us for you. So as part of the protocol, I want to invite Anjali and Gillian Carlotti to do the opening of the program.
Gillian generally volunteers me for this. So let me start with a very warm welcome to each one of you, and thank you, Pedro, for setting up the context. Delighted to see so many of you. And, this is perhaps one of the biggest indicators of your own investment to your professional growth and commitment to lifelong learning. I just have 2 quick points to make. One, I would like to applaud this team, the team that has put this together. There has been meticulous planning over the last many months, led by Pedro, the entire membership committee with Ingrid and the entire team, the communication team, the support team, translations. So if you really look at it, it has been tremendous amount of passion, professionalism, and a commitment to make this happen for each and every member who's joined in today. So we also have, the first time last year when we launched this program after a long break, we have Monica here, we have the other team members, I'm sure, who would join in too. It was focused for English triads. So if you really look at this triad, it is scaled up. So applauding, each and every one who has contributed to make this happen. And to each one of you, I just have 3 words to share here. 1, enjoy the experience. This is truly a beautiful experience. Having been, and I come with the, with the experience of having gone through the triads and how it's contributed. So definitely enjoy it. Experiment. And this is where the game starts, because the Masteries ebook provides you so much to experiment with, the effective behaviors and measures. Try something out, try out different ways of engaging the different masteries. This is the space to experiment with the masteries. So look at the Masteries ebook as your roadmap. I often say, if you're a Star Wars fan, the Masteries ebook is like Yoda that's sitting on your shoulder and asking you courageous questions. It's asking you, did you notice this? So, use the Masteries ebook to as much as you can. Experiment with the different behaviors so that you can own it. Third, explore. This is a journey not just about exploring the things to do, but who you are being. Explore yourself. And that's what the Triads program would provide you. These are all individuals, the coaching partners are people who have taken this journey. We've seen a lot of experimentation in the past as well. And each of you have different objectives. Some of you just want to get that, experience. Some of you are looking at certification. And we have Fernando here, who has, I think, in the last Triads, engaged this practice and engaged the program for, the certification audio. So go ahead, enjoy, experiment, and explore. With that, inviting you, Gillian, to take this forward.
Gracias, Anjali. Indudablemente hoy es un día de...
Thank you, Anjali. And undoubtedly, it's a day of much joy for the entire IAC team because of what it means to launch this Triad program and the opportunity to generate and provide the ecosystem for personal and professional growth for coaching to be able to reach that high standard that the IAC mission establishes. And particularly for everyone that's participating, I want to congratulate you first for materializing the value of this lifelong learning in IAC, and also for having the humility of continuing learning and advancing and getting to know each other as coaches, and conquering new personal spaces that allow us to bring better coaching to our clients, and also for the will of wanting to become better as professionals. This is really a fantastic opportunity for each one of us, and I want to dare and also take the satisfaction of saying hi to our past president, Shah Morty, that is probably very happy of seeing this launch of the global triad programs again, because last year, because Sean was really pushing for this to happen last year. So big hug, Sean. And we share that joy that you have today for this launch. Great. And finally, and very briefly, I want to congratulate the memberships, the global memberships committee meeting, and particularly Pedro for how diligent he's been, and that clear and simple leadership, and very useful to move this forward. And just to promise that for next year, in 2024, at least, we will have 2 cycles of triads for the IAC mission to continue be fulfilled. So congratulations, everyone. A lot of success, and hopefully this triad cycle is useful for each one of us and each one of you. And thank you for making a reality that mission of IAC. Thank you very much, Gillian. Thank you very much, Gillian, Anjali. And I'll take on those words that you're sharing to also express my gratitude. And to start with what was already designed by our colleagues last year, it has been very important. Basically, we've added some improvements because the work that you have performed has been very diligent and of a lot of professionalism. I've felt very comfortable to be able to take on this gift of last year's edition, to be able to incorporate some improvements from our perspective, having a focus on our members. And I've prepared a presentation here to basically continue with what we have for today. This is the agenda. As I mentioned, we have 60 minutes. And what's up next for the next minutes is the presentation of the facilitators team. And something important in relation to those that are accompanying this process and those that will accompany you in this process. Each one of them has the role of being the first point of contact for any situation, any inquiry or requirement in relation to your triad groups. We have Elida Izaguirre. She is a leader of the Venezuela chapter, who's in charge of the Triads group in Spanish. We have CJNG. He's the Singapore chapter leader, and he will facilitate the global triad process for all participants in English language. And we also have Jasmine Zhang. She's the chapter leader for Jiangsu in China, and she is in charge of facilitating the process of triads for participants that have chosen the Chinese language. And I want to thank these three people, these three colleagues, for their willingness to become a bridge in facilitating this triad process. And I also want to ask for an applause for them as well. Okay, very well. So something we have incorporated this year is creating triad groups for the participants according to the language that they chose. So through email, you have received this QR code, so you can go in and join this group in WhatsApp for Spanish and English, and in WeChat for our colleagues in China, or those that chose Chinese as their language. This is important because it's the space where you're going to have a support table and a table for escalation for any situation that could happen during the exercise of your triads. And now I'm gonna stop sharing this because I want to invite Fernando Celis. Fernando was in our past edition, as Anjali mentioned, and Fernando, I believe, has something very important to share with us. As part of his process of the prior year's triads, and how this has generated an impact in his IAC career.
Gracias, Pedro. Thank you, Pedro. I think I'm going to change to English for the global community. And I just want to start out by expressing how important this process of triads, and it's not just this triad, it's triads all the time. The better they're observed, the better you get. Coaching is not an activity that you learn certain skills and it remains stagnant. You evolve. You start discovering new levels of learning. You learn how to differentiate the what-centric to the who-centric. You start going deeper. You start reflecting more with practice. So my experience with Triad led the pathway to have an approved session at master coach level. And that was a great achievement because it's a recognition. And that's one of the strengths of IAC. You have people that can observe your sessions and you can get the clearest feedback possible. It wasn't always that way. The first one didn't make the cut. The first recording, it didn't make the cut. And you know how I am. I'm not going to stop until I get to the top. And I went through Triad. I have a school. I asked my mentors, my teachers to observe each session. I started going really into the discovery of coaching, and the Triad was the place where I could come in and just practice what I learned of all the sessions. And what I learned that made I think the factor that led to not only this session that was approved of Master Coach, I am going to use these triads to resubmit another recording just to be sure that I'm doing the right thing. Because the factor that I discovered, and I'm going to end with this, was to come into the session with the deepest the most genuine and honest sense of presence possible, to the point where I would not have to think on what I was to do. Just like an actor that even though he rehearses his lines, when he's on stage, he has to forget the text in order to be present. That presence is something that really gives the ultimate kicker to whatever it is that is going to happen in the session. And to not be afraid of failing. I think failure is good. If they wouldn't have rejected that first recording, I might not have practiced more. And I might not have discovered how continuous practice makes you even better and better and better. Of course, that's good for you, but it's also good for the client. And it's also good for the greater global good. We are the factors of innovation that our leaders have to start to embrace. Thank you, IAC, for pulling this off, for getting this opportunity to participate again. I signed into the English and the Spanish because I'm doing my social experiment with these sessions. You know, I want to know what because it's a lot of fun. This is the greatest job in the world. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Fernando. Qué inspirador lo que nos has compartido.
Thank you very much, Fernando. It's very inspirational what you have shared. I knew that that experience you had in the Global Triads of last year has been significant for you. Thank you for sharing your enthusiasm, your experience, and also that energy that you are usually sharing. I think that puts us on a high bar with to start with what's coming. So thank you very much. Now, I'm going to share with you the generalities in relation to what we have obtained from this process. 19 countries are participating in this program in 3 languages, as I mentioned. We've been able to configure 21 groups in Spanish, 11 in English, and 4 in Chinese. And I think that it's very important. That makes us be able to live this multiculturality and globality of IAC. 108 participants with memberships active. That was part of the requirements to participate in this program because it's a benefit exclusive for members. Will be joining us in this edition. We have participants, 12 participants from China, 33 participants that have chosen an English language, and 63 participants that have chosen Spanish language. And also we have 27 participants that still don't have a designation, and I think it's an important element, this program, so they can obtain their first designation. Designation as Master's Practitioner. We have 18 certified coaches, 3 master coaches, and 60 Masteries Practitioners. Something important to consider, and that has been an important element to segment the groups, is the years of experience of the participants.
14 participantes que
We have
tienen
14 participants with less than 1 year of experience doing coaching, 48 participants that have from 3 to 10 years of experience, 29 participants between 1 and 3 years of experience, and 17 participants that have more than 10 years of experience.
la estructura del programa.
And I want to share with you the structure of the program. And in fact, at the beginning of this process, I prepared this slide because it was important to identify what are the phases over which we will work. And the preparation phase, we started in May up to August that just finished. Today, we're starting the second phase, which is the execution of the coaching triads. Each one of you has received an email with the people that are part of your triads group, so you can get in touch with them and also a link so you can join the group that conforms all the participants of the program, where we're going to share a recorded video for those that have not had the opportunity to attend today. And something important to consider is that after the process is finished, the triad process, after the 30th of November, we have a phase after the program, which is, it implies also being as a support for you for any type of doubt or inquiry that you may have in relation to sending your audio, in relation to everything that could mean the certification process. All the information is on our webpage, and then we're going to continue sharing it. However, I think it's important that in this process of professional growth in IAC, it's us, the people that are as a support for you until you can achieve that sending of your audio for your accreditation. And these are the steps that we have followed, the records of each one of you that's finished on August 25th. Today we're on the kickoff, where we're going to provide you all the details around the program. You have received, as I mentioned, who are the people that are part of your Triads group, and you have until up to 1 week to get in touch with them and define and schedule the coaching sessions that you're going to have. Towards the 30th of November, we'll be finishing. This is a program that lasts for 3 months. We'll be finishing the program. And as I mentioned, the phase of post-program will be starting December up to March 2024. And here is the most important in relation to the execution of the triads. As you well know, triads are created by 3 main roles: an observer, a coachee, and a coach. For the coaching triads in IAC, we have considered that during the 3 months, you can perform sessions that will give you the opportunity to have a minimum of 4 sessions as a coach. So meaning you, in each session that you're going to perform, after the session, you're going to rotate those roles. If you were a coach, you will be observers or coachees. This in common agreement of your triad group. And here we have important elements that will assist in the process and are going to be a support for you. So you have a process of coaching sessions that are, quality coaching sessions. The transversality is the IAC masteries. And since these sessions are an opportunity for you to submit the recording to obtain a higher credential than the one that you already have, it's going to be important that it's within those ranges of that are part of the requirements of IAC, meaning that each session should last between 30 and 45 minutes. The observer, the coach, and the coachee in this scenario are simultaneously during the session, and they will also provide the feedback simultaneously in such a way for the process to be closed in this session. And perhaps the session will not last between 30 and 45 minutes with the feedback, but a little bit more, what you consider as part of the agreement of your development of coaching session. Aside from the scenario of the triad as such, we're going to have a scenario, an additional scenario where we have pairs, and there's people interested in this scenario. And here this observer is not within the session. The session is between the coach and the coachee, and this session is recorded and is sent to the observer. So the observer can, in the form that we have provided through the handbook, the observer can perform their observations and submit it within a week to the coach that performed the session. Now, this dimension or this scenario of pairs is an alternative for or Triads. It's an alternative that people maybe because of their schedule or because of lack of time, it's easier to have those dyads and pair up instead of having the triads. And this is within the protocol of IAC, which is, two people have a session and that recording is sent for an evaluation. So it's important that you consider this, and any inquiry in relation to the triads or the dyads within the group, WhatsApp group or WeChat, we're going to be there to provide support in case you have any inquiries. Between the observer and the coachee, I had mentioned there are some forms that we have designated and are part of the handbook. So you can perform there the corresponding feedback, both for the coach as well as the feedback for the observer in relation to the session. And also the coachee, how the coachee felt in relation to the session. Something important that is going to be part of the recordings is that we could have the permission from our coachee or our client in this triad process verbally, so they can authorize the use of this recording exclusively for the accreditation process of the person that is acting as a coach. Now, also in the webpage, we have a waiver form. This form is in writing, where you can also use to attach your recording and be able to have the consent, the explicit consent of your coachee in the session that you have chosen. Now, something important also to consider is that each one of you as a triad group is free to use of common agreement, the platform to perform these triads. There's different platforms that could provide you that possibility of performing your coaching sessions. The duration I had mentioned is 3 months, and we trust that each one of you could have at least 4 sessions as a coach, as a coachee, and as an observer. The materials, the support that you're going to obtain throughout the process is listed here. And you know that going into the dashboard, your dashboard, you can have access to your masteries book, handbook. We have also sent you through email the handbook for this year. You also have the forums to be able to provide feedback as coachee and to provide feedback as an observer. Important to consider that the content of all these resources is property of IAC, and it's important that we take that into consideration.
Tenemos como siguientes pasos luego de la sesión del día de hoy.
Now, what do we have as next steps after this session today? To start, that you can verify that you have joined the group, that your corresponding group according to the group, the language that you chose, Spanish, English, or Chinese, and the link or the QR code to join this group is in the email of the communication of your triad group. That you can get in touch with your colleagues of the triad groups that you're creating, and that you can schedule your sessions for coaching. And here we are ready for the Q&A session that I'm sure you will probably have some inquiries.
pueden levantar la mano o no.
You
Voy
can
a
raise your
revisar si
hand.
hay preguntas
I'm
aquí
gonna
que
check
nos
if we have any
están
questions
preguntando.
here in the chat.
Buenos días.
Buenos días, Fanny.
Fanny Escalante
Good
de
day.
Venezuela.
Fanny Escalante from Venezuela.
Agradecida,
I'm very thankful
encantada de ver
and
a
rejoiced to
Gillian
see
Carlotti, a
Gillian
Fernando
Carlotti,
Celis,
Fernando
y
Celis,
no sé qué otra persona
and
por
I'm not
ahí conocida.
who
Pedro,
else I might
lo
know
conocí
around,
cuando
but
hicimos
Pedro,
la
knew you when we did
actividad
the prior activity
en una práctica de
in
coaching.
a coaching practice.
Mi pregunta son
Now, my
muchas, pero
question
la que
is
ahorita
many
quiero
questions, but the one that I
es
want to make right now is
el video, el audio, perdón, se tiene que
the
enviar en inglés.
audio that has to be sent in English.
Gracias, Fanny. El audio,
Thank you, Fanny. And
ustedes
the
pueden
audio,
utilizar
you
esa
will
plataforma,
do
ya
that
sean en
in the language of
situación
your
en
choosing.
español.
If you have
Si
chosen
el grupo de
Spanish,
triadas va a ser en
your
español,
Triads group will
las
be in
sesiones en
Spanish
español.
and the
Las
sessions will
vas
be in
a
Spanish. You're going to
grabar así en español
record
y vas a
in Spanish
acompañar
and you're
con
going
la
to
transcripción
accompany
en inglés.
with
Cuando
a
les traduzcan en
transcription,
inglés de tu
a translation to
grabación.
English
Esos
of
son
your
los
recording.
elementos que vas a necesitar
Those are the elements that you will need
enviar a
for
IAC, o
that
iniciar tu
purpose of sending
proceso
to IAC or
de
start your
acreditación.
process of accreditation.
Gracias, Pedro.
Thank you, Pedro.
Muy bien, me dice Felipe Vázquez si durante los 3 meses
Okay,
estaré
Felipe Vasquez is asking if during the 3 months we'll be working with the same triad. Yes, and thank you, Felipe. One way of guaranteeing that you can have different sessions, different coaching sessions with your colleagues is that you will have up to 3 months so you can schedule these sessions and you have the opportunity to have up to a minimum of 4 sessions that you can evaluate and choose which ones is the one that you're going to send for evaluation to IAC and have an accreditation. It has to be with your same triad group. It's 3 people, and I think it's going to be easy to be able to coordinate those sessions in this time frame. John, we've responded to you in relation to the recordings, if they're audio or video, and primarily their audio because the evaluator will need the audio of the session and the transcription to English, that translation to English, so they can evaluate that. The written translation. Thank you, Gianfranco. Gianfranco, yes. The written translation to English. And Grace Gordon is asking. Okay, Grace. Yeah, perhaps in your group, the people, your colleagues are from Malaysia. The designation of the participants of each group has had the following considerations. The level of accreditation, well, in the beginning, the language that the person chosen. In second place, the level of accreditation. In third place, the geographic location of the person for purpose of not incorporating into a group a person that perhaps will have a very big time zone difference and that could impact the flow of the process. And we would have loved to have, for example, groups for everyone with 3 people from different designations, for example, of different accreditation levels. However, the volume that we have of participants it's primarily, as I mentioned in the graphs, are master's practitioner and also people without a designation. We also have certified coaches and master coaches. However, that's a group that's even more reduced. So to be able to complete the triad groups with this segmentation factors, we've had to look for the best way possible to have them feel comfortable with the process. We've also had a great participation from Malaysia, and I want to congratulate you because we've had great participation in programs from our members in Malaysia in relation to other countries. And that's why perhaps in your group, you are with people from your same country also.
Sí, Alec,
Okay, Alec, thank you very much for this question. The observer in this Triads group will not or cannot intervene during the session. There's a beginning of the session where the coach requests the approval from the coachee to be able to record the session and also identifies himself with their membership number, IAC membership number. And after that, the session started, it's recorded, and at the end of the session, the coach should say, okay, we have finished. And after this pause, it's going to be important that this moves to the observer. The observer cannot intervene during the session. The observer is just an observer. They're going to be focused and paying attention to the evaluation of the process of the coaching process of their colleagues. And thank you for the question, Alec. Jaco. Jaco, the translation to English of your audio or the audio of each one of the person that's going to submit to IAC for evaluation, that is of exclusive use of each person because it's part of their process. Each person will find a translator of their convenience, a translator that is, in accordance to what they want to obtain as a result of the translation of their audio. From our behalf as IAC, we cannot interfere in the process of the translation because that's exclusively in the field of the coach. And thank you, Grace. The transcription should be certified? No, the translation doesn't have to be certified. However, it's important that you consider that to the extent to which the translation is as exact as possible to the audio of the session, as a professional translator, the evaluator will have a better understanding to be able to evaluate. If we are careful and provide the importance needed for the process, we're definitely going to look for the ideal person to be able to perform that translation to English in our session, if it's in English or in Chinese. See.
No he llegado a leer. Sí. Ingrid, gracias.
I don't believe we have any additional questions. Okay, I see Marcela raised her hand. Go ahead, Marcela. Good day, Pedro, and good day to everyone that is here. I wanted to make a question in case you are unable to, what would happen if a person in a triad cannot continue? How could you go around that? For any specific particular reason. Thank you, Marcela. And there's situations that we cannot control that could happen in the case that a person from the triad does not participate. And that's why it's important that you join the WhatsApp group or the WeChat group, because we as support, we're going to find the best way of being able to resolve the situation. And I could tell you up front If you're missing one person, that I have the intention of continuing practice would be the first person to raise the hand to do a triad with you. So, you need not be concerned about that situation. I think each one of us has, through this program, a great possibility and opportunity, not only to execute a process or coaching session, but also this is a program that allows us to evolve, as Fernando was saying. This is a program that allows us to evolve, that allows us to put into practice how we live those masteries, and also at the same time, how we are professionally and ethically to resolve the different situations that could happen. Thank you, Marcela.
Gracias, Pedro.
Thank you very much, Pedro.
Muy bien, Gianfranco, adelante.
Okay, Gianfranco, go ahead.
Gracias, Pedro. Buenos días a todos.
Thank you, Pedro. Good day, everyone.
No sé si me
I
pasa solo a mí, pero
don't know if it's
ser
just
coach
me,
es la parte
but
difícil.
being coach is the hardest part.
Y no es lo mismo ser un coach
And it's not the same thing to be a
que
coach that
romper una
tries to,
relación amorosa,
break up
un
uh,
coach que trata de romper una
a
relación
relationship, an emotional
que
relationship, that a
desea
coachee that wants to
una reunión
achieve
con un executive.
a meeting with, wants to have a meeting with an
Sobre el coaching.
executive. So is there any guideline about the coachee? What topics or any guideline that needs to be followed? Thank you, Gianfranco. And all the participants in the program, all the members of IAC, are people that have gone through a development process in coaching. And this is something that for me, it's important to clarify. The program, for example, it's a program that lays a bridge of possibility using mastery number 8, inviting possibilities, for our own growth individually and collectively. This is a program that's win-win, where both us as IAC fulfill this mission and vision, and our community also meets their objectives or has the opportunity to meet them. Now, in regards to the topic you mentioned, if there's any type of guideline about, for example, the objective of a coachee in a triad group, there is really no specific guideline in the triad groups. I think one of the important aspects of us in this exercise of coaching is that not judging. And if a person brings to a session a specific topic because they consider it important to talk through it with a coach or a colleague that's a coach, I think that's an excellent opportunity for us to be able to be there, as Carl Jung was used to say, as a human being in front of another human being, indistinctive of indistinct of the situation that they can bring to the session or coachee, be in this practice process or if it's in any specific session. Now, there's something important also that we need to consider, and we have it very clarified in our code of ethics. Each one of us is coming into this program to give it their best, to create possibility. And I believe that each one of us brings this responsibility to their group. This program is not the extension of a coaching school. This is a program that's designed for professionals in coaching, for people that understand coaching and want to continue growing in that practice of coaching. Interesting what you have shared, Gianfranco, because it's part of our day-to-day. However, I think there's a very important resource that we all have, and it's facing an adverse situation that perhaps we cannot manage up front. We invite ourselves to go back to our centers and resolve from there. Thank you very much from Gianfranco. And yes, Carla Villalobos, yes, you could use the recording for step 2. Can I change to a group or diet in Spanish? Let me see if I understand, Carla. From what I understand, you're saying if you can use the recording to obtain your credentials in IAC. Second step is a synonym of IAC certified coach. If that's the case, of course, that's why we have shared the guidelines to ask for that permission from our coachee before we start the session. After the session is finished, that's gonna open the path for the observer if we have created a triad, the observer or coachee simultaneously. Or if we chose the dyads, we're just gonna be with our coachee, and that recording, we're gonna send it to our observer. The confidentiality aspect of this process, also as coaching professionals, it's our responsibility. In IAC, we have explicitly put in the handbook the confidentiality and safety of the data of each of the people that is participating in the program. However, it's our proposal because we know very well that each one has, that freedom, but since we have that professional ethic throughout, I think each one of us is going to be very responsible for their own process of coaching sessions and also of the confidentiality of the process, just as we do with our clients. Go ahead, Carla. Thank you very much. And thank you for the space, for this confidentiality process, space that's happening to have this process that's very professional and ethical. And my inquiry is in relation to, I put in that I was speaking Spanish and English, thinking that there was a common practice, but given that now I have the doubt, and I would like to make the request, since we can use this conversation to nominate to CC, then I'm a little bit scared that I might not have the competencies. I'm not fully bilingual. So I would like to ask if possible to move to a group in Spanish. Okay, very good, Carla. As I was mentioning to Gianfranco, from our center, we're gonna see what solutions we can provide. And to start, we're gonna respect your choice in Spanish and English, and as an alternative, you could also have some sessions in English. You agree? Now, Carlos, you had raised your hand. Yes. Good day, everyone. Just a quick question. The information of the observation with the observance we should provide. Where could you get that? Because I've checked the last email that you sent and I didn't see that. Thank you very much, Giancarlo. In the handbook, we have attached 2 forms that are the forms that support the process, the observation form. Sorry, the form for the observer and the form for the coach. So the form that the observer used to provide feedback for the coach and the form that the coachee uses to evaluate the quality of the process as they felt it with their coach. Both of them are in the final portion of the handbook. And in any case, when you join this chat group that's been configured for each language in the 3 groups that we have, all of these doubts will be resolved. And if any of you is unable to find the document or cannot go into the dashboard, we're there to provide support to you. Also, this presentation that I shared, we're going to share that through the WhatsApp group or the WeChat group in the case of Chinese speakers. Very well. We have some 5 minutes left, and I would like to know, it's important that you make all of these questions. Remember that, expressing ourselves with freedom in this pace of trust is one of the assets we have in IAC. And I invite you to express yourself with freedom. We're not going to put any note, and we're not going to pin. On the contrary, we're here to provide you a solution.
Pedro, this is Anjali. If I may just step in for a moment, just listening to some of these questions. While I'm just reinforcing the handbook that's being shared is a guidelines, and it's just that. Which means that even the form that's provided, these are very generic forms, and you may choose to customize it for your learning. For example, you wish to practice a specific mastery, feel free to customize it. So this whole, when I listen to the questions, many of them are very certification related. What's being created here is a community of practice for you to deepen your practice of masteries. Some of you may choose to go ahead with the certification process step 2. If you do so, do read through the guidelines provided on the website, because a lot of specific questions regarding, what kind of recording should it be? How do I listen for a good recording? What's good advice is all provided on the website. So if you do choose to use this community of practice to hone your skills and go ahead with the submission, that's where you can refer to all the guidelines as well. So just wanted to park that here.
I appreciate it. Ok. Entonces, ¿alguien tiene alguna otra
Very
cosa?
good. Does anyone else have any other question? Anything you would like to share? Perhaps the experience, and also at a gratitude level, not if Mr. Shah or Monica can share some words in relation to this new edition of the global program, since you are the founders of the program. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think I'm just looking at this, the way this current cohort has been designed and planned, it's been amazing. And looking at the WhatsApp group that has been formed, and when we first started it, and Monica was there, we tried through a lot of planning, but we didn't know where we were going. But I think this is the result, right? And it is just like what Fernando was saying. This is an amazing experience. Like for us in Malaysia, because we are a lot of us, so unfortunately we have to coach ourselves, and we were expecting to coach, from different nations. But anyway, and I think it's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, the committee, the EXCO, the Board of Governors, and the committee that's organizing this. It's amazing. Thank you very much, and I'm sure we are going to go beyond this as years to come by, with more leaders coming up and showing up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Monica?
Monica?
Thank you, and it's my great pleasure to join this second coaching triad, and I highly recommend you to make this good learning opportunities to practice your coaching, because it's only practice that makes perfect. And at the same time, don't give yourself too much pressure. We just try to learn and embrace failure, and I can guarantee you that after you learn from the failure, you become an even much better coach. So don't just try one round of coaching, try 2 or 3, and you can get as much as you can. Thanks. And last but not the least, I would like to give my big thank you to the Triad committee and make this happen again this year. And so that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thanks a ton, Mónica. Okay, so nos tomamos una foto. We can take a
Okay,
picture.
so let's take a picture.
Okay. A ver, esperamos un poquito.
Give it a minute. Let's see, we have 3 windows open. So window number 1. Very good. Now window number 2. Set. And to finish window number 3. Very good. Okay, I think we've been very effective with our time use, as we anticipated. And I want to leave you now with Angeli and Gillian for the closure of this wonderful program, for the closure of this wonderful beginning, and happy beginning of the month for everyone.
Thanks, Pedro. Nothing more to add to what's been beautifully shared here in this room today. So, like Pedro said, wish you a great beginning with the Triads. Gillian, over to you.
Al igual que Angeli, no hay mucho más que agregar.
Just as Angeli, there's not much to add, just to wish you to have a great experience and that we can all achieve the objective of sending our recordings and reach our next level in IAC. It would be fantastic to have a new generation of certified coaches and master coaches in IAC in this triad period. So very good luck to everyone, and hopefully everything comes out perfectly. Thank you. Thank you very much, Gillian. And I would like for CJ, Jasmine, and Elida to be able to also say goodbye. We have a couple of minutes. Welcome everyone to the Triads. Hopefully it's very successful. And I'll be here for any questions for the Spanish group. Thank you. CJ?
Jasmine?
Or Jasmine?
Jasmine? Hello?
Jasmine? Okay. Very good. So thank you very much, everyone. A big hug. Thank you for your time. Oh. Jasmine?
Yes, okay, sorry, my connection is not very good. Thank you for organizing. I have no questions. And thank Pedro for your organization, organizing for this event. And very thoughtful to organize the WeChat, especially for Chinese group. So thank you for your commitment and your efforts. That's all.
Thank you, Jasmine. Ok, muchas gracias a todos. Con eso estamos.
Thank you very much, everyone. With this, we will be closing the event for today, exactly at 9:30 New York. A big hug to everyone. We're going to send this session in the chat groups that are part of the invitation of the email where you have received the communication of your triad groups. A big hug to everyone.
Have a nice.
The International Association of Coaching. home of the coaching masteries.